Now, you know what we do each and every Monday. News, scores, updates is how we start. Then we get into the show. Now, Baldy walked in on the end of that, but I always send my guys an itinerary, a lineup for where I want to go.
Yes, you do.
I added this in there, and I'm sure if he hasn't seen all these comments, when I read the comments, he's going to have a lot to say. This is why we do what we do. That's why I said this Monday, if no other Monday, we're going to wake y'all up for this work week.
Yes, sir.
Weather's changing, so we're going to wake y'all up for this work week. All right? So before we do that, I do want to give one shout out to my guy, Brandon Floyd. I have to give a shout out to him. Known him since he was a teenager, preteen. Good dude, good ball player. But he's going through something family related. And I wish him the best. I'm praying for you, fam. I'm praying for you and the family. You and your brother Byron and Miles. So I'm praying for y'all. And, just hold your head, man. It's going to get better. And when we see each other, we'll definitely talk. All right? So I just like to get that out before we really got started. So another thing before we get started, a partner was giving us an update on our guest from last week. So while we are live on air,
great show.
What better way than to get that update is live on air. So boy.
So congratulations to Gabby for being picked up on the Puerto Rican national team, which they will be in Puerto Rico in June for about 2 weeks. Which they'll have the likes of the USA team they'll be playing against. So she'll be able to put her skill set amongst the
international.
It's FIBA.
Right.
And so what it is that's going to be the qualifier for the Olympics. So according to their record, when it's done, when the tournament's done, she'll have the possibility of playing on a bigger stage.
There you go.
But she will get a chance to play against the U.S. women's team. She'll be able to play. She'll get a chance to play against them.
That's the best way to learn too.
Which is perfect because if you feel like your skill set is extremely high, then
go for it.
Most definitely, the USA women's team is tough. It is a tough team.
So if you beat them, you can be
that experience, man. Even if not even if you beat them, if you get out there
compete
and you show them something and compete, you gain all the respect in my book.
That's and that's all you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Gabzilla for that. Shout out to Bishop Freddie Boom
up the upper room
for being the dad and guiding his young people. Like I said, we talked about it very briefly last week, but if you just look her up, the community involvement with her is beyond her years. So again, shout outs to them for that, and congrats for being named a member of Puerto Rican national team. So we look forward to big things from you, Gabzilla. Remember, got the little guys over here. Just give us a shout out and we cool with that. So we're gonna get into it. Got some news and updates as always. Then I'll give you some scores, and we'll take a quick break. Then we'll get back. We're gonna get into some. Matter of fact, we're not even gonna take that first break. We're gonna take that first break after the first segment. So the news, the scores, and then we're gonna get into that first segment. So the Spurs were fined $25,000 for violating the NBA rules on resting players. So it's always been a thing with them. I mean, this is where, no disrespect to Pop, because I love Pop.
They're like the Patriots.
But this is where this whole load management began.
With
San Antonio.
He started it.
It was before.
It was before
Kawhi Leonard. Because if I can remember, or I can recall, there was a game. I think they came here. I'm not sure if they came here or we went out there. It was against the Sixers. It might have been. They might have came here or wherever they were. And Pop sent players back to Texas. And that's where it all started. He sent like stars, like Tim Duncan. I think Tony Parker was on this squad. Maybe Manu. All of them got on the plane, got sent home. And they came and played the Sixers. So that's where that load management nonsense all began. For the NBA Hall of Fame this year, the presenters have been revealed. MJ is going to present posthumously Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, that's good love.
David Robinson is going to present Tim Duncan. And KG, the big ticket, is going to do the honors for Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, that's what's up.
Isaiah Thomas of the Pistons.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens turned down $70 million from Indiana University.
Okay.
And Frank's sitting over there, okay, like he got a couple mils sitting in the stash. I kind of understand maybe a little bit of his reasoning. He's comfortable where he is right now.
Right.
Maybe he just doesn't want to go back into the college ranks. But when you narrow it down and you look at it with tunnel vision, somewhat.
True.
70 mil is a lot to pass up.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Shoot,
It's a lot to pass up. It's a
10
lot to
million
leave
is a lot
on
to
the
pass
table.
up.
Yeah, most definitely.
Got 71 big 70.
Yeah, Utah Jazz star Donovan Mitchell is expected to miss several games due to his injury.
Yeah.
The Lakers are reportedly going to skip the White House visit on their DC trip.
I wouldn't go.
Yankees Jay Bruce announced his retirement from baseball. The NBA has alerted teams on protocols following or looking forward to today's possible verdict in the Derek Chauvin case. So they are preparing the NBA when they're saying that if things get out of hand, that there might be some games that might get canceled for the safety of all, especially for the NBA safety.
Why would it get out of hand?
I don't know.
Why would it possibly get out of hand?
But National Guard has been called in some places already, or they're
really?
stand by already.
We should do a show on
the National Guard wasn't
National
called
Guard.
to the White House to the Capitol.
No.
Yeah.
When they stormed the Capitol.
We can have a whole segment on this. Man,
Still, the one difference though, I said to
no, it's
people,
Monday, damn it.
It's Monday. That's right.
Hit the button.
I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything like that. But
It
it's
came a bit quick,
just
too.
calling a spade a spade. In that situation, you had those other complexion people there. No National Guard till after the fact. Stormed the Capitol building on the steps and then went in the building.
Destroyed property.
Just hold on. Before we even get to destroy property, went in the building.
Right.
Backtrack a little bit to the Black Lives Matters protest in D.C.
It was already military.
Before the protest began, before people showed up to protest, the National Guard was lined up on the steps.
Already.
But the point I was getting at is, excuse my language, Mo, that was their dumb ass fault. Because us as black people, we not going in the building.
You know, we
ain't stupid.
Blood be all on that cabin.
The whole point, they say we do this, do that, the way they look at
We're
us.
done.
But just know, we ain't stupid.
Mama ain't raised no food.
Well,
because we know if we get to them
12
steps,
feet.
If we get to them steps,
blood
is getting physical.
Blood's all.
It might not be blood at the steps.
It will be.
If we get to the steps, it's getting physical. If we get up on the steps,
it's over.
That's when the problem starts. So
that's
just had to put that out there.
Be a
Get
lot of
top of
red.
my head, you know. We ain't stupid.
Why when it comes to us? Why does it when it comes to black folk? And this the thing that I always say about people who just fail to like understand.
Right.
Why when it comes to black folk, there's always this thing where we gotta be prepared for the worst. Where the black people have been the most peaceful marchers that have ever walked this country.
MLK.
Ever.
Yeah.
Never.
We had to march peacefully.
You know why?
Absolutely.
Because if we showed up with guns, they would have killed us.
Period.
And this is why the Nation of Islam was such an issue to white America.
Right.
This is exactly why Black Panthers were such an issue to white America. Because what they did was they took the Constitution and wore the Constitution the way white folks wear the Constitution.
Exactly.
And they did not like the fact that here's these black folks that know their rights.
True. That's dangerous.
Not only do they know their rights, but we got the right to bear arms.
Right, true.
And when you got the right to bear arms, that means I fight power with power. And we fight power with
They
power.
don't like the even playing field.
You don't know who's gonna win and who's gonna lose.
That's what white people scared of. They scared
And that's
of
where
that.
we at now in
Right.
this country.
True.
But when people just kind of like they don't understand, like when you have a son,
Right.
Yeah.
and I got to explain to my son at 16
Right.
on what the possibilities might be when you get your driver's license.
Walk out
Now I know for a fact I got friends that's white. I got cats I went to college with that I'm still tight with
I just
to
can't-
this day.
I was when I was somebody Saturday was white.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Well, you sound like a white guy that got one black friend just now.
Yeah.
I was just out with
Last night.
But see, that's what it is. And listen, to no fault of your own,
Yeah.
you may not
A
have
friend is a
grown
friend.
up with white people.
Puerto Rican.
So that means you probably don't have a lot of white friends.
True.
Your environment,
It's not,
Right.
it's just not
My
you.
circle is not right.
It's
Right.
but your
Right,
environment,
right,
your
right.
environment,
Right.
and then what happens is
Right.
the where you grew up
Yeah.
dictates the sort of like all the friends you got,
Exactly.
and then as you get older,
Different.
according to where you go in life,
You branch out.
you may or may not branch out.
Right. True.
Now, it's kind of weird because what happens to us as individuals, we're three black men,
Yep.
three young black men, and I'm saying young because we young.
Yep.
And in reality, man, we all have at some particular time
Right.
encountered
Racism.
a police interaction that was not favorable for us,
Right.
or we got talked to like dirty.
Right.
And so this when I had a conversation with somebody before, and they said, "Well, where are all the good cops? Since there's bad cops, one bad apple spoils a bunch type thing. We're the good cops." And I said to my man, I said, "There are good cops. Here's the weird part: when the good cop decides to say something to a cop that's out of line,
Right.
he gets blackballed."
You know why, right?
So
It's like real quick, Ball.
yeah,
They say when you do stuff like that, you mess up the family. They're supposed to be a family,
I get that.
and you do that, like
That's
they gonna
understandable.
blackball.
I get that.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
I get that. That woman just wanted 15. She just want that black cop.
Right.
I can't remember her last name. Carolyn something. I can't remember her last name. But I had posted it.
Right.
She 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
15 years.
I remember.
She just getting her all her paper.
The one that charged didn't got killed.
No.
Okay. Okay.
She's getting her paper. She was a black cop.
Okay.
She stopped a white cop from choking a black man
Right.
when they pulled him when
Right.
they had him pulled over.
Right.
She stopped them,
Right.
whatever. They actually put an assault case against her, against another cop,
Right.
for stopping him from choking him. So again, when it comes to protecting black people, if we can't protect each other,
It's a wrap.
who's going to protect us?
Who's going to
Because the laws,
Sure
Right.
enough ain't
I ain't
protect
gonna
us.
get in there.
All right.
That's another topic.
That's a whole lot of. Sorry, y'all. Monday morning.
Absolutely.
Monday morning. Oh, and I should have been watching that Derek Chauvin.
you shouldn't have been
God,
watching
this morning when I left.
Right.
YouTube with Jake Paul flattens former Bellator and one champion Ben Askren with a brutal right hand.
What you think
in the
he gonna
first
get,
round. Tough. Chiefs great and longtime
They're gonna lose the
politician
place.
Fred Arbanus dies at age 82.
Mm.
And just to add in this real quick,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant
Oh boy.
leaves yesterday's game in the first quarter with a thigh injury.
Man, these cats are weak, dog.
Sadly, a North Texas football signee, a young man by the name of Willie Simmons III, has died. He was one of 3 killed in a shooting in an apartment complex in Austin, Texas. So another young black man lost. Don't know the whole entire situation of that,
It's getting
but
sick, man.
the details of that situation rather. But that was in an apartment complex, and we'll probably never know the full details. We'll know what they want us to know,
Right.
as always.
True.
So we're gonna move on to some scores.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid, we're gonna start with the Major League Baseball today. Diamondbacks 5 beat the Nationals 2.
That's my pool.
Phillies come back and blank the Cardinals 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
The Rays finished the sweep of the Yankees 4-2.
Mm.
Indians 6-3 over the Reds. The Giants 1-0 over the Marlins. The Blue Jays fall to the Royals 2-0. The Orioles and the Rangers go into 10 innings. The Rangers take that 1-0. The Mets and the Rockies, the Mets take that 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
In game 1 of a doubleheader, the White Sox defeat the Red Sox 3-2. and they look like they beat them the same score in the second game. White Sox 3, Red Sox 2.
Right.
Tigers 2, A's 3, Dodgers 5, Padres 5, Dodgers 2, Padres 5, Astros 2, Mariners 7, and the Braves beat up on the Cubs 13-4. In the National Hockey League, the Rangers defeat the Devils 5-3. Penguins fall to the Sabres 4-2. The Bruins defeat the Capitals 6-3.
Right.
The Golden Knights defeat the Ducks 5-2. The Flyers get blanked by the Islanders 1-0. The Maple Leafs fall to the Canucks 3-2. Before we close out, over the weekend, Robert Whittaker defeats Kelvin Gastelum in 5 rounds in the UFC Vegas 24. Moving into our basketball scores,
Orioles.
and once again, folks, we welcome you.
Gotcha.
We welcome you, Sharika. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Sharika, for that name. Her name was Caroline Horn. Sharika, thanks for that information. Glad to see you tuned in.
Sharika Davis.
Congratulations to you on your endeavor. And me and Frank were just talking about that. We're going to have to talk to you about that in a minute. So again, folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Sports Rap Podcast right here on Heat 100 Radio, heat100radio.com.
That's that area there.
We're going to get into the NBA scores. Pacers 117, Hawks 129. In overtime on ABC, the Knicks outlast the Pelicans 122-112. The Nets fall to the Heat on a buzzer beater by Bam Adebayo, 109-107. The Raptors defeat the Thunder 112-106. The Hornets defeat the Blazers 109-101.
Right.
You're welcome, Sharika. What was that? The Blazers and the Hornets. The Rockets defeat the Magic 114-110. The Kings defeat the Mavs 121-107. And the Clippers beat the Timberwolves 124-105. Those are your scores for yesterday. Before we close out the show, as always, we will give you your schedules for today's events in the Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the National Hockey League. So, Baldy, we're going to have some fun for a little bit. I said in the intro that we were going to talk some Sixers. So the first thing we're going to do, I want to talk about their most recent 2 games going into these next 4 starting tonight against the Golden State Warriors.
That's a tricky
Then I'm going to talk a little bit about one, Joel Embiid, and how I feel he's getting the short end of the stick in the MVP race after missing
to that injury
those games and the injury. I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get to that part. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the playoff push, how things look like they could possibly shape up in each conference.
Right.
So, beginning with the Sixers. Very, very pivotal game. So, I'm just going to give you their, as we call it, their next 6 games. 2 of them have already been played. The Brooklyn Nets on the 14th, the Clippers on the 16th.
True.
Then again, they say tonight they got the Warriors. On the 21st, the Suns. And then they have 2 games back to back in Milwaukee. Not back to back, but 2 games in Milwaukee. So, before we get into that Brooklyn game, I'm going to talk a little bit about this Clippers game. Because I know the Brooklyn game is going to have a lot of stuff tied into it. A lot of things that are going to take us different places a little bit, if you will.
True.
So, with that Clippers game, some people that I've spoken to said they felt like the Sixers had taken their foot off the gas a little bit. I don't know how I kind of see it. I really don't see it that much that way in that particular game. What I did see was a difference in the coaching compared to last season's coaching. And if you were watching the game, and I was at work watching it, so I kind of had the sound on. I was trying to focus, but Vince Carter was one of the commentators for that game. And it's always, and just real quick, it's always good for me to see former players that have the basketball IQ, that have the knowledge and understanding of the game, that can succeed at that level.
Right.
So one of the things that he mentioned late in that game was the Clippers got back into that game when they began to double team Joel. Two things I saw. One, I saw the difference in the coaching, and Vince Carter even said it. He said that what they need to do is now they need to adjust and post Joel up in the middle of the floor where he can see everything. Because the instance was, what they were doing was he would get the ball on the block, and as soon as he caught it, they would just run somebody at him. Whoever was closest, they just run at it. It didn't matter who it was, we just want to run somebody at him and make him give up the ball. Now I can say the second thing that I've seen, that I saw, and I'm starting to like it, is he's still learning, but he's getting better in recognizing double teams and acknowledging and recognizing what to do and making the right passes out of the double team. So I'm happy with that. And like I said, he's still growing, not where I would like it to be as of yet, but it's better, a lot better than it has been.
Right.
And the coaching aspect changed where Doc figured it out as well, being a point guard, being a former NBA player, and watching a little bit and understanding what they were doing. He did start moving Joe to the middle of the floor and posting up in the middle of the floor when it's harder to double team because of the better shooting that's around the Sixers right now.
The elbow
and it's better for Joel because it makes it easier for him to make the right play.
Right.
Because now at him being 7 foot, the way they were playing him anyways, backing off of him, almost daring him to shoot that 15-footer or that free throw extended jump
he
shot,
can do it too.
which was a mistake because he can hit that
Anytime.
And then if you charge him at 7'2", he's got enough
to get by
that he can get by you off the dribble, even if it's a Euro at 7'2", which is amazing. But those are some of the things that I did see. And again, like I said, that comes, in my opinion, it comes down to the difference in the coaching. Because
Brown and
like I said, and I gotta preempt this with this open disclaimer. Brett Brown, in my eyes, is a good coach. Basketball, X and O's, good coach.
Playoff time, he disappeared.
Not even so much
I just think he's a good
coach.
He's a good assistant coach.
He's not a good head coach.
He just wasn't the right head coach
for that team.
For that particular team.
Exactly. I always said that. Yeah.
That's where my opinion lies for him in that. But again, you see the difference in this with Doc Rivers as coach, where the adjustments are being made to get the best out of his players all the way across the board, not just with Joel.
Yeah, Doc does
It's getting Danny Green some more open looks. Matisse Thybulle is getting open look, although he still needs to work on that jumper and that three. But that'll come because he does for us what we need him to do so well. So I'm cool with him working on that. I also noticed that the Philadelphia 76ers this year have put the national stage on notice, where they constantly recognize and acknowledge the team that posts up the most in the NBA. And they have 3 legitimate post players. 3. Not too many teams have 2 legit post players where you're almost guaranteed to get a bucket.
And a big thing about that is in the playoff.
They can create their own
playoffs. You're talking about it slows up a little bit. You got half-court offense.
You gotta know what to do.
Well, you gotta be able to take advantage of that half-court offense.
Absolutely.
And everybody can't do it.
Why you think Boston was so good back in the day? But that's another topic.
So those are some of the things that I saw in that Clippers game.
I did see one thing though that I wish would have happened sooner. And they still kind of didn't do it, and I hope that they implement, or they can see it when they watch the tape. Is when Joel Embiid was posting up, and they were sending that double team sooner than later, before he even got the ball. You need to play a 2-man game with a shooter, So it's easy for you to keep that double team on him when Ben Simmons has the ball out on the wing because they know he's not going to shoot.
Right.
So run a motion up top, get a shooter to the side that he's on,
Right.
and then when you drop that down, just spot up. If that double team stays, you got an open shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they didn't really do it
No.
because, like you said, they shifted him to the middle.
Right.
But when he's on that low post, he's on that bottom side.
I keep telling everybody that.
That's where you gotta have a shooter. That everybody know that you keep
Yeah,
the
you know,
shooter
it's
to the
funny you
side
say
that you
that,
right.
Oh, he's
That's-
a nightmare, ball.
That's one of the reasons
Right.
when JJ Redick was here, him and JJ,
Why they got
they
rid of
had a
him?
lot of he wanted too much
He
money.
wanted too much.
That was one of the
He's
reasons
75
why.
years
Hey,
old.
That was one of the
Real-
reasons why they excelled as much as they
Hey,
did.
real quick, because he's a problem. I'm talking about JoJo.
Oh,
If he
yeah.
stay healthy, he's a problem.
Yeah.
My point is, if he stay on that block, he has options. Everybody has
Yeah,
options.
but
Like
see, that's
Paul
what I'm
said.
saying. The difference is,
Yeah,
you have teams like the Nets.
right.
I mean, the Clippers,
True.
for example, what we were just talking about. They had athletes on their bench. They had some, but they got athletes, high energy guys
Right.
on their bench.
Right.
Makes it a little difficult when you're on that block and you stay on that block. Because like we said, now
He can kick it out.
because of Ben playing the point guard and
True.
being the right now the main facilitator,
Right.
or it's Matisse. It's a little off with Danny Green because the spacing isn't right because
Tobias
he's
Harris.
better in the corner.
Mhm.
You can't put Tobias there because now you got a log jam,
He gave it to Jay though.
but you can't put him there because they
Yeah.
got a log jam. So you have to have a shooter like Baldy said.
Yeah, JJ Redick.
And one of the things that they did, like I said, with those athletic, high energy guys that they brought in off the bench,
Right.
like Baldy said, before
Shane
everybody in the world, just like the Michael Jordan thing, everybody in the world know
Right.
we go half court, JoJo getting the rock if
Mhm.
he in the game.
Yeah.
Everybody know that.
Everybody
Shake
know
Milton. I
Everybody
like Shake
knew that.
Milton. Yeah.
You can use Shake Milton in that instance
Mhm.
too,
Mm.
but the
Yeah,
problem
kill him, too.
becomes when he's on that block,
Yeah.
it cuts off your spacing.
Okay.
And like I said, with their high energy guys and the athleticism that those high energy guys had, they were running that JoJo before he caught the ball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So by the time he caught it
Yeah.
and was reacting or looking, reading to make his move,
Yeah. He'll fumble the ball.
they all on it.
Yeah.
He used
Yeah.
to fumble the ball. He's
Yeah,
holding
yeah.
on to it
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But it's like I caught it, now I got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes I saw one time he went over.
Yeah.
And
But
one.
it
And one
depends.
was a foul.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it
yeah.
depends
He goes
on-
over. That's how
it
it
It's a
depends
on
on
move,
who
but
you're
at the
running.
same time,
Yeah,
if I
problem.
know, and I'm talking from a defensive side, and I'm playing the Sixers, and we send in that double team, right?
Mm.
We know we gonna send this double team because we don't want him to have the ball in his hand that long.
Period.
Right.
So if I know this is what we're doing,
Yeah.
I don't even plan
Welcome
on
back
going
to
out
Step
to
Back
the
Podcast.
3-point line
Don't go
We
there.
are right
No.
now talking Sixers.
I'm not even gonna
basketball,
plan on going
and
out
breaking
there
down
to defend anybody because you got Ben Simmons out there who's not going to shoot anyway.
Yeah, true.
So as
let's
a
focus
defense,
on him.
as a defense,
Right.
when I know I'm running that double team, I know that I'm only stopping at Ben. I ain't going out to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Ignore him.
But if you got a guy
Shake
like a Shake Milton, like a
JJ Redick.
like a Tobias Harris,
Tobias,
and
yeah.
I'm talking about who's on our
Team
team.
now, yeah.
You got a guy that can pull up,
And hit the jack.
but you got a guy that can hit open shots.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now when they run that double team, it's now a hesitated double team because
Right.
now I can't just stick and stay.
Right.
Because the guy that's out there, he gonna mess around and get 30 out there.
Exactly.
And if I
You
go,
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I stick or if I dig too far,
George, what's up, cuz?
Yeah.
people forget. You look at the basketball court, you look at the games on TV,
Right.
and it doesn't look like it's that much space.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Paul,
even in that double team,
turn the mute volume down.
depending on where you
Mhm.
dig,
Turn your volume down and watch the game.
depending on how
Oh
far
yeah, you better
dig
turn that volume
or
down.
My
whatever,
fault, on there.
Yeah.
you might have a little extra hand length to
Right.
get back,
Yeah.
which could cause you a bucket
Mhm.
on the defensive end. It could cause you a bucket
Right.
because remember you're playing with the best in the world.
Mhm.
Why you get
And-
did he get to the line so much, man? I see him always going over
Because he's-
the top.
Well, because he
He
has an
beats the double
offensive,
team,
because
he has an offensive skill set.
Yeah.
Because he's
And
kind
big.
of he's
Right.
kind of a combination, and this is maybe a stretch, but
Mhm.
he's kind of a mixture of Shaq and Hakeem.
Hakeem, that's what I say, yeah. Especially Hakeem.
Where
Not as dominant as Shaq,
No.
Shaq.
But
but
more
size wise.
His
wise,
footwork-
strength wise,
his footwork is like Hakeem, the dream.
Shaq, but skill set
Yeah.
and footwork
Yeah.
is
the dream.
similar to
It's
the
more of a
dream.
dream than Shaq.
Well, it's both.
It's
You
both,
just asked
I
how
think.
he get to the line
Yeah.
so much. And it's crazy
Nobody
because
getting 50
even
points.
though players know he's doing that swing through move, he's just so strong
He said so
and
move.
so athletic, so oddly and freakishly athletic at that size
And his
with the
touch.
touch.
And he has
that
handle too. He has a handle.
It's scary.
Listen,
If he
I wish
stays
we had a
healthy,
little basketball in
It's
here.
scary.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. It's so hard for a 7'1", 7'2" guy to have touch because they hands wrap around.
That's
It's
Shaq.
like, but it's
His hands
literally
take up the whole ball.
it's literally like when you playing with a miniature basketball.
Right.
So it's weird
Yeah.
to see a big guy that got touch.
And he's 70% from the line too. He's good at that line.
They got touch. And I mean, to be quite honest,
I think
that's one of the best things about him. He and then we always talk about, simplifying the game.
Right.
He getting people in foul trouble, right? Which puts them in a penalty early,
Right.
which allows our offense to be a little more aggressive.
Right.
And
That's
scarily-
what you want. That's
and
what
scarily,
simplifies the
it
game.
allows him to get into a rhythm.
True.
Because he's one of the ones getting fouled, and he can shoot them free throws.
And
Exactly.
he's shooting the text.
What he 70% then?
Anybody that played basketball knows
He's about
your coach is going to
he's
tell
close
you.
to he's close to 79, 80%.
Yeah,
Those
you
shit.
either
He
going to
always-
drive to the
they go all
basket
net
and
too.
get a layup, or you're going to get to the free throw line, settle yourself in, and get your rhythm.
Yeah,
Fatima,
man.
how you doing, Fatima?
Yeah, that's
What's going on, mommy?
technically that's what you want. Period.
Right.
You know what I mean? On any team, you want a guy
Right.
that can cause a matchup problem that allows your team
True.
to have easy and open shots.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I mean when I say simplify the game. You're making it to where a guy like Danny Green, who normally would never go to the basket,
Man, he just
now
He
he will go to the basket because they're in foul trouble. So if
he
they
hitting them shots.
if
man.
they
gonna get
foul
free
him,
throws.
and he's a good free throw shooter.
He's a
So
free throw shooter.
that's what changes the game. You
Tobias
know,
Harris had 41. I know why. Exactly what y'all guys are saying.
Yeah.
JoJo.
listen,
Listen, man, JoJo is.
Here's what you gotta understand too. A lot of people look at guys in the league and they may say this player's not this. He's a bum. What you gotta understand at some particular time in every NBA player's life, they was the man.
Yep.
That's why they there.
High school, college, somewhere.
Everybody
PE,
that's
may have
in the
been a couple-
league
may have been a
has
couple
been the
places,
man.
but
Yeah.
somewhere.
So
Italy.
given the opportunity
Yeah.
on a specific team
Even
on
the
any
bench
given
warmers,
night,
right? Bench warmers too, right?
a
Bob?
joker, yeah.
'Cause you in the NBA, you good.
I tell you, like I said,
If
Charles
they
Barkley-
on the bench don't mean
Charles
nothing.
Barkley
They're
said
better
it
than me.
best a while ago. He said everybody on that 15-man roster is there for a reason.
That's right.
He didn't even go as far as say they were the man, but he said you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
From 1
You
to
swinging the
15,
towel.
Mhm.
No,
you're
man.
there for a reason.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
man.
let's move into talk a little bit about this Brooklyn Nets
Yes, sir.
game, which was Wednesday. I think that was Wednesday.
JoJo's an 85% free throw.
Oh, that's good.
So that's great.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was an 8. He went up.
So,
I remember
that's
last
good.
year.
The Brooklyn game,
What's up, y'all?
Mhm.
once again, shorthanded, a little bit to my disliking.
Mhm.
Right.
Because every time we played them, and it's funny because the one time they beat us, they were major before trade, pre-trade, they were majorly undermanned.
True.
And
That's
they
true.
beat us.
That's true.
Okay, but we came back game 2. They only had James Harden.
He's not there now, yeah.
He's not. He's hurt again
Yeah.
now. And
That
then just
team
most
was
recently,
for him, man.
no Kevin Durant or James Harden. Kyrie was a game time decision, but he did end up.
They're inconsistent with the health, man.
So, in that game, again, due to all their injuries, due to salary cap issues,
True.
they're another team with a bunch of low to mid budget players as far as salaries.
Mm-hmm.
But again, high energy, athletic.
Right.
At these moments when these guys are injured, these guys have to play.
Yep.
So, in essence, they don't have anything to lose.
Right.
They can just go out there and be comfortable and
Go
play.
with the flow, yep.
Do what they do. Like we say, we got a lot of guys that are one-trick ponies, like we used to call them. That's all they have to do if
House
they are
money,
that.
yep.
That's all they got to do. And that's what they did in that game because they made a little comeback
Mhm.
in that game as well. But right now, there is no real answer for the big fella in the middle.
No, it's not.
I've been saying since the beginning of the season even prior to the trade for James Harden, that they didn't scare me because they're going to score a bunch of buckets,
Only one ball.
but their defense is extremely
It
suspect.
got a little better, but it's not there yet.
Their defense is extremely suspect. And then you look post-trade, another punch to the gut was the abrupt and sudden retirement of LaMarcus Aldridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. You know why? Yes, it's
Yeah,
true.
they picked up him, but unfortunately he made a
Retired.
health decision
Right.
and decided to call it quits. So shout outs to him for the
Yeah.
career that he had in the NBA.
Yeah, that's a
They
sign.
picked up Blake Griffin,
Man, he's
who is every epitome of the phrase shell of himself,
Mm-hmm.
of his
even
one
in
self.
his prime. I didn't like him like that. I'm sorry.
But
This
he
is my
did
opinion.
things in his prime. He did things that
He was overrated.
was
in my
hard to
opinion.
defend. That might have been the case.
I think he was
in your opinion.
overrated. I'm sorry.
But I just look at it like the way he was, the athletic as he was in his prime,
Right.
the things that he did in his prime, and he did develop a little jump shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
It
was a
wasn't
highlight.
as consistent
He was
as
a highlight
it could
film
have
guy,
been,
D.
but
Mhm.
the things that he did
Mm.
in some instances made him hard to defend.
Yeah, that's true. I can say that.
Made him hard to defend.
He was alright.
He
And
was
the reason I say that,
and he was a hell of a rebounder.
hell of a rebounder. That's why I say
Yeah,
it's
he was
hard.
rebounding.
It was-
He's
and I'm not
good.
saying
He was
totally.
Blake Griffin was averaging a double for almost
And
5,
then the
6, 7
injuries
years,
came.
but
and that's
that
what it
happened.
was.
But
Yeah.
in some instances, when he was healthy, he was hard to defend.
Mm-hmm.
As far as in that scheme
I was a big fan
of what
of
they
him.
did or whatever. So we look at the Eastern Conference and we look at the race here. So let me find my notes here.
Is the Sixers coming out the East?
So we look at, like I said, I told you again, like I said before the trade, and I still say it now, they don't scare me.
They only
Does
been
a-
together
Does a
like.
horse create manure?
They don't
Well,
scare
here's the
me.
thing, Dave, real quick. They said they only been together for 8 games.
Well,
The whole 3 trio.
Yeah,
So,
well, see,
that's not good
and
enough.
the problem for Brooklyn now is they don't have any money to make any minimal moves at
Yeah.
best right now.
Like a bench, like another wing.
Like they can't even sign anybody really to a 10-day contract. They got to cut somebody or waive somebody,
Yeah. Y'all should come out
which
with
would be hard fetched for them because of the situation. Like I said, with those guys that are there
Yeah.
that have been
Mhm.
playing because of the injuries.
Yeah. Y'all might come out.
So the Sixers, with that second win over the Nets, take over sole possession of first place,
Right.
and we now own the tiebreaker.
Right.
So even if something ungodly happens and the Nets catch us, and we fall to a tie,
Right. Y'all get the tiebreaker.
we still get the tiebreaker.
Right.
So top 3, which is pretty much all that really matters in the East right now.
Who's third place? Milwaukee.
The Sixers are in
Yeah.
first place at 39 and
Yeah.
17.
They don't
The
skip
Nets
you.
are in second place, 38 and 19, 1.5 games back,
Who's
and the Bucks are 35 and 21,
Giannis.
4 games back.
4 games back.
Who's number 4?
I
Atlanta.
write down them for Atlanta. I think is
Atlanta's number
They're
4.
a sneaky, a dangerous team.
But
Atlanta,
see,
yeah.
Y'all
The-
haven't
the
been talking
best
about
thing-
that.
the
Atlanta.
best thing for the Sixers
They're winning
is
some money for me too, boy.
to continue with the path that they're on, the
My
success
bets.
that they had,
Mm-hmm.
and
The Hawks are dangerous, D. Telling you, man.
you know, in this first 6-game stretch,
Don't sleep on them.
4 of these games are at home, which is great for the Sixers
Mhm.
because they're very very good at home.
Win some games, man.
The 2 of the toughest games are already been played, and they won those.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State, even though they do have Steph back, I still see a win there because they lost James Wiseman.
Yeah.
Draymond Green can't defend Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid.
Right.
Right.
But he might go.
He
He might. Steph
can't.
might hit 60 that night. You never know.
But if Steph hits 60, what's the rest of the
Listen,
guys going to do?
He
That
can
doesn't
get
make
60
sense.
if he wants.
Right. I know.
You know, you
Well,
what the rest of the
He
guys
always
gonna
messed
do?
up my pool over there. I'm gonna talk about that
So-
over here, but
Listen, he's a
he always
he's a
messed up
point
my
guard.
pool over
The
there.
next
He's a
the next
point guard.
toughest game is Phoenix.
Mhm.
Y'all play us,
And
y'all.
I consider that
Lakers.
a tougher game than we beat y'all twice this year. So
We on y'all, man.
Oh my God.
Y'all trash, man.
that's the
We've
next,
been winning games lately without our 2
that's the
stars.
next toughest game.
Y'all trash.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about y'all.
All right. Okay.
Think of
That's
it.
the next
We're going
toughest
back,
game
baby. We're going back.
in my eyes is that
Okay.
Phoenix game because
Phoenix.
Phoenix
He
has
messed my pool up.
been
that way.
on a
They've been on the
phenomenal
run.
run
They lost
the
the
last month, 2 months, where they
Saturday.
jumped. It doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
they jumped up to the number 2
They won
spot.
10 straight
I
game home
mean,
games.
beginning of the season, they were floating around that bottom of the field, maybe into the play-in
Yeah.
tournament. But
You know what happened?
What place they
they
in now?
got some
Third?
things together.
Chris Paul, man.
Yeah, they got things together.
That dude, he's
Chris
like
Paul.
fine wine, man. He's
And
like, you want a
Well,
point
lot of
guard?
people
The league?
said you should. They would put him in that MVP race.
Oh, Chris
you
Paul?
Yeah,
You could.
because of his impact on that
Yeah, you
team.
gotta
man.
look at how they
At
jumped.
his age? This time
I'm
his
talking about
age?
his game.
Talking about
Yeah,
how
I
he's
know.
playing.
I
I don't
know.
care how old you is.
Yeah.
You know who the
Yeah,
oldest MVP ever in the league was?
What's the boy from the Pistons?
No.
No, not him.
Kareem.
Kareem, yeah, Kareem. Oh, yeah, duh.
It's
Oh,
phenomenal
Kareem.
what they've done.
That
Like
shot.
I said, they
Oh.
jumped.
What year was that,
They
ball? You know what year?
jumped. They jumped over
He was
y'all
38, something like that,
jumped over a
39.
lot of
17 we
teams
had.
to get to the number 2 spot where they are right
Oh,
now.
Phoenix is solid.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
that's
like Phoenix. I
that's
like
one of the
Phoenix.
toughest games I think.
And
Even
Yellow
a
Boy.
little bit tougher than the 2 games against Milwaukee.
Utah
But
overrated, ball.
One silver lining in that Phoenix game is it is here. It's the second time you play, so it is here.
Yeah, it's overrated.
So maybe that'll help a little bit. Then you look at the remaining games after these upcoming 6,
Right.
which in my opinion are
The two
pretty
Milwaukee's.
much all winnable games.
True.
Out of this next, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The next 12 games after the 6 we just talked about, the next 12 games, you only have 2 teams that are above 500.
Above 500, yeah.
That's the Hawks twice and Miami.
It's
Heat.
what you do in the playoff. Ain't nobody was staying this.
I think
What I'm saying, this means
yeah, I
something
think
because
now you
it
find
show-
it's
What's true?
no, it shows me who you
Shows
are
you
as a team.
But
And
ball,
it's position.
always been like
And
that.
it means
So
a lot.
football,
It means a lot
basketball.
more now due to that play-in
What you
tournament.
do in the how many times
And
like not
you
to
gotta get there
Dave,
first.
Dave,
though, right?
not to get off the subject about basketball. How many times the Giants and the
It
Steelers
that don't
won? They
even
was
matter.
low seeds.
That don't
Low
even matter.
seed.
That's one game.
It's one game.
Yeah, that's
NFL
true.
plays
That's true.
one
That's
game.
That's true.
Now you got to beat me in the series.
Yeah.
You got to beat me more than once.
Yeah,
Gotta
hockey,
beat me more
baseball.
than
Yeah,
once.
it's true.
Yeah.
You got to beat me more than
So
once.
that makes football more harder to advance to the chip.
Well, it makes it more difficult because of the fact that
Okay, you got me.
you got one game,
Right.
and you got to look at the elements of it's 3
Right.
phases of the game.
Right.
So it's not like your guys on offense can turn around and go play defense.
Right.
Not like basketball.
One time you miss this game, 6
But
months.
not like basketball.
Right.
In basketball,
Yeah.
even if I turn the ball over, if your offense turns the ball over on in football,
Right.
you gotta hope that your defense can get it
Yeah.
back.
Right.
Well, in basketball, if I turn the ball over, I can go out and possibly get the turnover back
Right.
myself.
Right. True.
I can go back and do something on the other end
Block.
that
Brian,
can
like, yeah.
catapult
Right,
out.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a little
It's
different in
just-
that
yeah.
regard.
That next 12 games after that, looking very, very good for the Sixers. I mean, like I said, the 3 games, the 2 teams that are over.
You know who the
500.
shocker of the East is right
Y'all
now?
not scared of
and
Boston?
the Heat.
You're not
You
scared of
know who the
Boston?
shocker of the East is right now?
Who?
Charlotte.
Chicago.
Charlotte's playing with Charlotte's 20. They
No,
500.
Atlanta.
Mm-mm.
Chicago?
The Knicks.
The Knicks.
Oh, yeah. Yup. They
Right,
won some
the
pools
Knicks.
from
Yeah.
me,
The
too.
Knicks are.
And
What
think
is it?
about it.
What place they in?
They
They're like 4th or
six.
5th, somewhere
Oh,
between
duh.
4th
I'm
and
thinking
6th.
like 7 or 8.
No, they're in the 6th. They're in the 6th slot. But the weird part about the Knicks
They're
is,
balling.
and it was crazy because I remember Julian Randle. I remember when Julius Randle was coming out, and we could have got him.
Lakers, yeah.
And I said we should have got him. And Monty was like, "Man, I wish y'all had got that bum. We ain't want that bum."
I'm
And
glad.
I remember,
Now.
I only liked it.
Exactly.
I don't know if he would have been able to be the guy he is now had he played for us then,
Right.
because he wouldn't have had the opportunity to do what he's doing in New
He
York.
learned the game. He's learned the game. He
He
learned the
got
game.
it's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I
big
mean?
too.
It's the opportunity. But things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Ended up in LA and was pretty much under the tutelage of Kobe.
Yep.
Because he was there with Kobe.
Yeah.
He was working out with Kobe for about 2 years or whatever. And he said those 2 years kind of changed his process on how he worked out. So had he been with the Sixers, a young Sixers team,
killed it.
he might not have been able to get that development that
Right.
what you see now.
Oh, you won.
You know what I mean?
Fan? Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So things happen for a reason, but he wouldn't have got that opportunity to shoot the rock like he's doing over there.
Brandon Ingram.
So
yeah, it's all the same. But I like the Knicks. I think the Knicks is a
You
sleeper
think they're
team.
gonna do something in the playoffs?
No, I just think they're gonna get it.
Atlanta, I'm telling you, boy,
the 3
Atlanta.
games, the
Don't
2
laugh.
against the Hawks, the 1 against the Heat.
Atlanta's good.
Even though they're the teams that are above 500, I still think winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other ones are winnable games,
Alex Smith
but a
and
couple of them
Oh, sorry.
you got to pay attention to, like the Chicago Bulls game, the Indiana Pacers game. These are teams that are fighting to get in, to try and make a statement to avoid that play-in tournament. And to boil it all down, for the Sixers, you ideally want to get the number 1 seed because you actually play the winner of that 9-10 playing game in the tournament.
Right.
Just got a flash report. Alex Smith has announced his retirement from the NFL.
If the Lakers stay at the slot they at and they end up playing Denver gonna get y'all out of there.
So-
but Jamal Murray got hurt.
Jamal Murray got hurt.
No, AD's coming back too.
I don't care.
So
He's coming back.
here's the quick look at the West. And again, I did the top 3.
Wait a minute.
The Jazz.
You say the top 3?
The top 3. The Jazz. The Jazz with the best record in the league.
You don't want to.
So we're not gonna talk about the Lakers then, right?
You are.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
Yo, AD come back, hold it down. We're playing
the
good ball
Suns-
anyway.
If it was a
Suns have
fifth,
jumped
we'd
up.
all be drunk.
Yeah, the Suns have jumped up to second place at 40 and
Crazy.
16. Only a game and a half behind.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers still holding on where they were at 2 and 3, bouncing
Overrated
back and
team. Another
forth.
overrated team.
40 and 19, 3 games out.
Tottenham, man, too.
And the
Utah.
team that played, the other team that plays
I'm
in
just
the
gonna drink
Staples
my
Center
coffee right now.
Yeah, they overrated.
Because
Has
it's a
fell
team that ain't in the
from
top
number
3
2
right now.
Well, we hurt. We
to
were
number
balling
5
though.
at 35 and 22.
35 and
We
22.
don't got
A
LeBron.
surprising 7 games out. You still have
But we healthy. Nobody want to play
you
us.
still have a couple weeks. We beat y'all healthy. You still have
That's the only team.
you still have a couple
Yeah,
weeks
we number 1 right now.
before
We'll see y'all
Anthony Davis returns.
Uh,
They're talking now
2 more
early
weeks.
May,
2-3 weeks.
possibly for LeBron.
AD's coming back.
Damage
maybe
could
2
be
weeks.
done by that time.
Here's the thing. They said they
And the
doing a
problem
playoff
is,
game.
but here's the problem. The problem
Let's
is,
look at y'all's schedule.
the problem is that damage could be done
They've been.
by the time both of them return
We
together.
beat Utah.
And it might be too late.
And it might be a little bit too late. And before
We be the 7th seed. People still be
For-
scared of us.
for the style
We're right.
and physical nature of the way those 2 injured players play,
The Western Conference.
if it's a tweak on either one of those guys' injuries, it's a wrap for the season.
Really? All right, don't be denial about that. The West is tough. It's tough. It's tough.
We're not even talking about the West. I'm just talking about the
He's
injuries.
tough too.
I'm talking about the
Not like
injuries.
the West.
I'm talking about the injuries that
Beg to differ.
you guys
Boston,
had.
Milwaukee's overrated.
Only reason why I'm
Atlanta's
saying this.
good,
Only
but-
reason why I'm saying that because
look
when
at the
you look
disparity,
at
though.
the when you look
Boston's
at,
up and down. They're not ready.
when
yet.
you look at the West
And you-
against the East
West
and you
is
look
tougher.
at the records.
y'all got better. The
When you
conference.
look at the records of
Right.
Eastern teams
Right.
playing Western teams, is
Close.
damn near even.
It's close.
Phoenix a bust a lot.
When you
It's
look
close.
at the records,
True.
the West has been ravaged by injuries, bruh.
True. That's true.
So it's about even. Denver just lost Jamal Murray.
Just two injuries.
Wait,
yeah.
Denver just lost
Right,
Jamal Murray, right?
Right.
Utah just lost
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell,
Right.
right?
Right.
Y'all got 2 superstars out,
Yeah.
right?
True.
The only person that's giving out gas is Luka and Devin Booker
Yeah.
and Dame.
Right.
And
Sorry, Dame, I didn't mean to leave you out like that.
Dame,
Portland is Portland.
Unfortunately,
They need another player.
Unfortunately, Dame's in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Right.
They need
Okay?
another player.
The Suns and Devin
Now
Booker.
flip that and go over to the
The
East.
Suns and Devin Booker are
Who's injured?
benefiting highly.
Nobody. That's my
Well,
point.
Well, Beasley's still
Except the Brooklyn Nets got all the injuries on the East.
They ain't doing it.
And
I'm just saying,
They
everybody
stay
else is
healthy.
healthy.
third,
True.
when you said who said you said Dame? Oh, and Luka.
Atlanta's
They've
healthy.
been losing.
They've been losing.
Right.
They've been losing.
Atlanta's
They've been
scary.
losing.
Now I do
Atlanta's
like
scary.
Minnesota with Cat and a young boy Everett. I like
They're
them.
not
They
ready
need a
yet.
coach.
They're not ready.
But that's what it is.
They need
It's
a
the
coach.
it's
Right.
the coaching. It's something
Right.
going on in their system
Yeah.
Right.
They
that's
got
not
some
allowing
talent
them
there.
to push.
They
But
need
they
a
got a
coach.
lot of talent.
Yeah, true.
They need a
It's
coach.
just that they getting out coached.
Denver's they score a lot of points, but something I don't know.
See, the problem becomes, and this kind of leads us into the next part of this conversation. We'll talk about a little bit about Joel in the MVP race.
When you talk about Brian and MVP,
I saw this a while back, and I had to tell one of my coworkers to stop listening, stop watching. And it was at the beginning of the Joel Embiid injury. And I talked about it on air. There was a media member who said that because Joel got injured after being the leading candidate up until his injury.
Right.
Once he got injured, he said he should just write himself out and not be considered an MVP race again.
Right.
Joel missed 18 games. He comes back and he's basically doing the same thing he did before he got injured.
Right.
There's a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about Jokic.
He's not getting it. He's not getting it.
Jokic is not, in my opinion,
I'm not racist,
as skilled as Joel on the offensive
end. He's the
end.
truth, though. He's good.
I will say he is a better passer.
That's it.
He is nowhere near
on the block
the defender that Joel is.
No. You get down on him.
And I think his chances are going to get hurt now, not because of injury to him personally,
he just got hit,
but because of injury to Jamal Murray. I think that's going to hinder his play a little bit down the stretch.
I give him credit. He does. He get a lot of triple. He's had 15 or 16 triple.
They said the first time like 20 years or something like that. Even dominant, something like a big man get in trouble doing.
But the thing is, see, big guys like that, we compared it to.
Jalen Rose said he's gonna get it.
Joel can get his own shot, even if he's not on the block. He can get his own shot.
Right.
It's not very often that you see Luka. Not Luka. Jokic, the Joker, do that.
Right.
Yeah. More times than not, the Joker is being set up or playing off of the skill set of Jamal Murray.
Like
it's gonna change because Jamal Murray is done for the season. He's done for the season.
Wow.
So their whole scheme is going to change now. And I honestly,
who's that number 2?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I honestly don't know if you can peg the Joker as the legit number 2 to carry it right now. I don't think he can carry it.
So JoJo got he's in the drive.
Well, the thing about the NBA,
the
thing about the NBA and this, the thing about the NBA and this MVP race is it changes every week. Okay. Just
how about
the other
Giannis?
day,
He balling good, right?
But just the other day, there was talk right after that 47 and 40 something point game with Dame and with Steph Curry and Jason Tatum. Before that game, when we were watching the Sixers game, there was talk where it was like, so if Steph gets this 10th game with 30 or more consecutively, they'll want to put him in the talk. So that's what I mean when I say it's real freaky, it's real tricky with the NBA. But in my opinion, I don't think those 18 games hurt Joel. Because for one, his team continued to play on without him, and they won without him. They haven't fell any lower than 2.
That could hurt him, then.
All season long. But I don't think it should hurt him. 18 games.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And he came back, and he's picking up right where he left off. He's the only player for the Philadelphia 76ers since 2006 when AI did it to get 3-4 consecutive games with 30 points plus.
Yeah, he had a 50-point game there. I saw that.
So you look at this and you see the difference in, you look at both of those games that we talked about earlier. You look at that Clippers game, and you look at that Brooklyn Nets game. The Brooklyn Nets game, their centers were in trouble early.
He was
very
cooking.
early.
He was cooking. I saw it.
In the Clippers game, the same thing.
He was cooking them too. Dunking on them.
So, in my opinion, I don't know what people are looking at or how they're looking at it. Where you tell me or you try to get me to believe that he's not in the discussion anymore. It's no way.
Who said that?
A lot of people say it, but it's no way. And you look
he's
at
in top 3.
but you look at the other people that they're talking about that are in the conversation. We're talking about Luka. We're talking about Jokic.
Dame.
Dame
Greek
in Portland is just something weird
Greek
going
Freak
on
in
there.
He's not in there.
Yeah.
But
You can mention
he's
his
still
numbers
good.
are.
But
He's
you
doing
look
good
at
damage.
He averages about 29, 28, 29.
Greek Freak.
Giannis.
yeah, but look at the impact.
He's back-to-back champ anyway.
You look at the impact that Joel has had when he's playing, and the impact that he had when he wasn't playing, for those guys to persevere and continue to win.
Yeah.
And look at where the Sixers are.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't fell any lower than the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
Although they had some funky losses to Cleveland, they lost twice to the Grizzlies. Fine and well,
Them teams
but
are
they
good
bounced
now.
back,
Yeah, them teams are good now.
and they're still
Number 1.
now they're number 1.
Yeah.
They're sole possession of number 1 right now.
They was number 1
But-
in the season too.
They were never lower than number 2.
Seed, yeah, that's true.
Never lower than number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And no discredit to the other guys, but like you said, it's just something freaky, something weird about Portland.
They need more help, man.
It's just something weird in Portland.
They
I mean,
need help.
he's got the help. It's just something weird for that particular team. I don't know what it is.
He's not gonna win the chip there.
You look at Jokic. Jokic has a big test coming up because now things are going to be put on his shoulders without Jamal Murray.
You know?
We got to see how it goes. JoJo's been doing it every night. I mean, fortunately, and that's not really our issue, our concern.
He stay healthy.
There have been the rest of the guys have been fairly healthy,
Right.
but the rest of these guys have excelled because of him.
Why they are on the bench too?
These guys, not even the bench. These guys have excelled on the court because of him.
Right.
Because of the impact, the way he boggles and confuses a lot of defense where they don't know what to do. Everything they try, he beats it.
Sure. Double
Okay.
teams. Yeah.
Luka just got Porzingis back, but they still losing.
You gotta win, yeah.
So you can't sell me the fact that he shouldn't be higher up than a lot of people are talking about him in the MVP race.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sell it.
I
to
mean,
me.
you looking at. That's the question. What is it based on? Now, I understand that he missed games, but what is it based on? Because you got to look at the overall spectrum of your impact on that team, your impact on the league, on some real stuff.
Yeah.
Because Steph is an impactful player
Yeah.
when he's healthy, right?
Right.
You know, Steph averaged about 30 something.
He's cooking.
Him and Bradley
everybody.
Beal, they both averaging 30. They the only two averaging 30 right now. But Bradley they ain't winning in Washington. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, 8 spot, I think.
Well,
I ain't even in an 8 spot.
no matter. They're not even in the. They're not
Yeah,
even
it's
in the
like-
playoff conversation right now.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look
Westbrook,
at where
he probably would go down.
dudes is averaging point wise, and then you got to look at what the team is doing. Then you got to look at what the impact is. JoJo to me is head above the rest.
If he stay healthy, he's gonna get it point blank. That's just my opinion.
And like you said, the one thing that makes more sense to me is the fact that they've been carrying that 1-2 seed all year.
All year.
All year. 18 games he missed.
Right.
And still all year they right in the mix.
Right.
Where you expect to impact some caliber player with him, you expect him to.
Yeah, I
they
think he'll
got
get
to
it.
fall
He'll
to
get it.
3 for a
Mhm.
second or not,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't. So that's that. Again, like I said, I still think he should be a lot more prominent in the conversation on a positive note than what people are trying to make it out to be. It is now 12 noon time. We're gonna take our first break. When we come back, we're gonna tackle these quotes. And the way we started off today, I kind of feel like those quotes are gonna carry us out. So stay tuned, folks. You are tuned in to Sports Rap on Heat 100 Radio. We will see you on the other side in just a couple of minutes.
Man, I got to switch that. I got to turn that clock. Man, this thing
I
driving
was
me
about to
crazy.
say it's 11 o'clock.
Look up